Akane and her boyfriend were sitting in a cafe when the boy informed the green-eyed girl that he had met another girl he likes. She did not seem surprised, knowing he had been acting cold toward her. Later, the girl sat with her friend in her room, who teased her about her boyfriend leaving her for someone in a game, calling it homewrecking through gaming. The girl, Akane, told her friend to stop. She recalled when her boyfriend introduced her to the game. Although she knew he was obsessed with playing, she did not expect him to cheat with another player. She showed her friend the last message from him, through which he asked her to return the rare equipment he gave her. Her friend was disappointed and reassured Akane that breaking up was the right decision. Determined to move on, Akane opened her laptop and logged into Forest of Savior. She realized her ex-boyfriend had already unfriended her. While playing, she encountered a character named Yamada, her guildmate. She messaged him. He seemed unsociable and asked if she was going to the Prophet's Stone. When she asked what that was, he explained it was a rare item with a low drop chance. She vented about her boyfriend cheating on her through the game and refused to give up her hunting ground to Yamada. A notification announced a 1-year game anniversary event with gifts for attendees. Remembering how her ex asked her to stay together forever, Akane felt sad. She asked her friend to go shopping for an outfit to make her ex regret his decision. At the event, Akane was surprised by the large crowd. She saw her ex, Takuma, with his new girlfriend and chased after them, but tripped and fell. A guy helped her and she realized it was Yamada. She explained she was not paying attention to where she was going. When he walked away, she called out his name, wondering if it could really be him. He turned, confused, asking if he knew her. Takuma and his girlfriend approached, fangirling over Yamada being a pro gamer. Akane claimed Yamada was her boyfriend. Though he initially denied it, she silently begged him to play along, offering a code she was given for the event. He agreed, upsetting Takuma, who started crying as his girlfriend comforted him. Yamada and Akane sat at a bar, where she explained her situation, and he remembered their in-game conversation. He explained what a pro gamer was and mentioned he had never had a girlfriend, and was not interested in romance. Akane agreed that romance sucks. After returning from the restroom, she found Yamada had brought her band-aids for her injury. They decided to stay and drink all night. Akane woke up in a bed to the sound of someone talking and realized it was Yamada in his game room. When he realized she woke up, Yamada excused himself from the game and approached her. Nervous, she fell off the bed. She asked if they had a one-night stand. He explained that he had 2 options, to look after her or abandon her in the streets, but the latter seemed inhumane. He mentioned she had puked on her clothes, so he washed them and he also paid for her dinner. She excused herself and asked where the bathroom was. Yamada expressed doubt that he would see her again and asked her to take care of herself. Disappointed that she had spent the night at a stranger's apartment, when she reached home and lay in bed, she realized she had lost her necklace and wondered if she had left it at Yamada's apartment. She started searching for Yamada in the game. Her eyes teared up as she remembered the necklace was the first gift from Takuma. She vented to her friend Rurihime in the game about the situation. When they saw Yamada, her friend called out his name, and they chatted briefly before he excused himself. Akane told him she might have dropped something at his place, but he replied with a no. He then criticized someone for leaving unnecessary tools in the game drop box, and Akane admitted it was her. When Yamada got up and started walking, he stepped on something which turned out to be Akane's necklace. Unfortunately, it snapped in half when he stepped on it. Akane and her friend were having lunch together, discussing the event and the incident with Yamada. Her friend scolded her for wanting to keep a gift from a guy who treated her badly, and for being hung up on Takuma. At the train station, she saw 2 girls trying to tell a boy their feelings, but he ignored them. She recognized the boy's face. It was Yamada. She scolded him for being rude to the girls. He seemed surprised they were confessing their feelings. Akane asked if he went to high school, and he said yes. Yamada said he wanted to see her, then gave her the broken necklace, apologizing for it. She thanked him and left. Seeing her in the rain without an umbrella, he gave her one before leaving. Later, Akane was in bed, looking at the necklace when there was a knock at the door. It was a delivery of packages, and her mom's letter said she wanted to make the room a training space, so she needs her daughter to clear it out. Her friend Momo helped clear the clutter. Momo asked what to do with the umbrella and broken pendant. Akane decided to let them go, realizing it was time to move on. Late in the night, Yamada was at home when the doorbell rang several times. He opened the door to find a drunk Akane and her friend there to return his umbrella. He reminded her he had said not to worry about it and mentioned they were being annoying. Akane explained it wasn't just about the umbrella, she was thankful for his help. She took Momo and left. As they were leaving, he mentioned that Rurihime was worried about her since she hadn't logged in for a while. Akane and Momo went on a group date. Akane and Rurihime grew close through texting. Once home, Akane logged into the game but found no one in the guild hall. She saw Rurihime and Yamada talking, assuming they were dating, and got mad. When they noticed her, Yamada logged out. Akane couldn't shake the thought and felt the urge to stalk Yamada's account. At the train station, she saw Yamada with a girl she recognized and felt sad, thinking he might have a girlfriend despite saying he didn't. Lying in bed, Akane received a text from Rurihime about an offline meeting with the guild. Next morning, she woke up to her alarm, got ready and headed to the meeting, but struggled to find the venue. While checking the map, she bumped into a guy, dropping her phone. He checked if her screen was cracked and noticed her destination, asking if she was going to the Fast Club Café and if she played the game. They walked together, and with him complimenting her. Although she didn't feel like it, she tagged along, believing he would show her the place. When he kept talking about the game, she explained she was just a beginner. A girl waved at them, and Akane ran toward Yamada, but Rurihime held his arm defensively. Akane introduced herself to Rurihime, but it was awkward, because Rurihime sounded so different than in the game, and asked who Akane was. Sitting at the table, Akane recognized Rurihime and Yamada, but wondered about the boy and the old man. Akane asked Rurihime who they were, and she replied that they were Eita and Mr. Kamota. Akane wanted to know more, but the girl said she wasn't Rurihime and demanded to know who Akane was, and why she was at their guild meeting. This confused Akane. Yamada suggested they introduce themselves before ordering food. Eita introduced himself, revealing he was behind Rurihime's character, which shocked Akane. She stood up, lashing out, but Eita tried to calm her down. Mr. Kamota introduced himself as Takezo, a strawberry farmer, and introduced Runa, Eita's sister and the model for Rurihime. Then he introduced Yamada, which made Runa mad, but Yamada said it was a long story. Akane told Yamada she thought he and Eita's character were dating in the game. She questioned if he lied about not having a girlfriend, and he assured her that he didn't lie about that. Excitedly, Akane said she was happy to hear that, then realized she'd said too much. Runa got mad and teased Akane about being in love with Yamada, but Eita quickly covered his sister's mouth, apologizing for her behavior. The old man interrupted, asking if they had decided what to order. Yamada and Akane locked eyes, causing her to drop her glass. As she tried to clean it up, Yamada stopped her, touching her hand and telling her not to so she wouldn't hurt herself. She looked at him with glowing eyes, turned away to hide her red face, and agreed. Yamada excused himself, saying he needed to take a phone call. Mr. Kamota asked Akane if she was all right and mentioned everyone was pleased to see her, especially Eita, which made Runa lash out, telling Akane not to steal her brother, too. Eita found Yamada sitting on a bench outside and asked why he lied about the phone call. Yamada said he felt Akane wanted him out of her sight. Eita smiled, explaining that Akane was just embarrassed. He expressed that she was very pretty, and since Yamada said she was like her character, he assumed she would be childish, which Yamada agreed they looked alike. Eita told him he'd have a hard time getting a girlfriend with his attitude, and Yamada replied that the joke about not having a girlfriend was getting old. Eita said Yamada's indifference towards girls worried him. By the end of the meeting, Eita apologized that he could not walk her home and worried she might get lost again. Runa said she does not like Akane, and how she was clinging on to Yamada. Runa made up her mind that kicking Akane from the guild was her purpose. On the train, Akane and Yamada started having a conversation. Akane noticed that all the girls on the train were glancing at him. The train started shifting, which made Akane stumble against Yamada. He checked if she was okay and asked her to switch places with him so that she was safer. Akane asked him what he will be having for dinner. They both shopped for some groceries, and they started walking. She told him to wait for 10 minutes and left. He sat on a bench and waited for her. She ran to her house, and then she ran back to him and gave him 2 big bags which had food she'd packed for him in there. He said that he didn't feel like taking it, but she insisted. Then she received a phone call from Runa, who apologized to her for being rude during the meeting and asked her to hang out, to which Akane agreed. Yamada received a call from Eta to tutor Runa. Akane was sitting with a man who assumed she was Ruihime. She received a text from Runa who told her that Akane should start without her because she'll be late and her online gamer friend should be there, which overwhelmed Akane, so she excused herself. Yamada went to Runa's house and she was excited to see him. Yamada asked Runa if she had somewhere else to be, but she said no. Then her phone started ringing. It was Akane calling her. The man that was with Akane came to the ladies' restroom and started knocking on the door, trying to force it open. Yamada asked Runa where her and Akane were supposed to meet. When Yamada opened the door to leave, he found Eta. Together, they figured out where Akane and the guy must be at. Runa started thinking about the old days before Akane joined their guild. Mr. Kamata showed up to Eta's house and was freaking out over what had happened since Eta exaggerated the story to him. They all got in the car and Eta asked Runa to apologize once they got there, but she refused. They both spotted her at the café. Mr. Kamata rushed toward Akane and lashed at the guy and threatened him to leave Akane alone. Akane turned and found that Eta and Yamada were there too, and they informed her that they came to check on her. Yamada noticed that Akane's leg was injured, and the man with her explained that it all started when he scared her in the woman's restroom, to which Eta demanded an explanation. The man explained that since she took so long in there, he thought maybe he should bring her some medicine, and assumed she might be unable to open the door. And then Akane accidentally hit her ankle. Eta and Mr. Kamota scolded the man. Akane greeted Yamada, and he told her that he was supposed to tutor Runa today. But she cut him off, with being happy about that being the reason Runa didn't show up. Yamada kept staring at her, then looked to the other direction. So did Akane, and that is when she saw Runa. Runa started running away. When Akane got up to check on her, she hit her leg. Runa saw that and ran back to Akane and apologized. Eta told Runa that he needs to have a word with her, and Yamada told her that the prank she did was dangerous. Akane complained that her stomach was hurting, and asked Eta to check the drugstore for medicine, and asked Runa to rub her stomach, while Yamada and Mr. Kamata kept Eta company. Akane started a conversation with Runa which took Runa by surprise. They started talking about playing together. However, Runa was confused to why Akane was still being nice with her, even after she stood her up. Runa confronted Akane with the truth about what she did, and Akane told her that joining the guild was her source of joy, and that she wanted to see Runa in hope she accepts her in the guild as well. Runa started crying, and she apologized for being terrible to Akane. Yamada and Eta and Mr. Kamota came back with the medicine, and they found Akane comforting Runa and wiping her tears. Once she saw them, she welcomed them back. Momo mentioned how fortunate Akane was to have met Yamada. Yamada found leveling up with Akane too tedious and declined most of the time. Runa helped Akane level up quickly in the game. When Yamada went online, he corrected Akane's spell usage and offered to give her some spares, but Akane declined, insisting she would do her best, to which Yamada responded with a smiley emoji. During a game tutorial with Momo, Akane's computer monitor caught fire and broke, and she couldn't afford to buy a new one. Runa informed her brother, Eta, of the situation. Yamada was awakened from his nap by repeated phone calls from Eta, who was asking if he had a spare computer. Initially, Yamada didn't have one. Eta explained that Akane's computer had smoke coming out of it and was technically broken. Yamada was reluctant at first, but changed his mind when he saw Akane's in-game character working hard to level up. He went to Akane's house with Runa. He said he would try to fix Akane's computer, but he didn't want her to get her hopes up. Akane prepared some snacks for them. While still working on Akane's computer, Yamada commented on how delicious her curry was, which made Akane happy. While they ate, Runa secretly took a picture of Yamada and Akane and sent it to her brother, who was studying and felt excited to see them getting along so well. Eta suggested that Runa help them get closer, since they were still a little distant. She grinned as she observed the two chatting and formulated an idea in her head. Runa was determined to make the romantic comedy scenario her brother envisioned come true. She initiated her plan by inviting Akane and Yamada to bathe together, confusing them both. Then she attempted to get Akane to eat the toast she made, but Akane ended up eating the entire loaf by herself. Next, Runa encouraged Akane to get closer to Yamada, believing that physical contact was necessary for their relationship to develop. Akane leaned toward Yamada, causing a few strands of hair to fall into his eyes. As Akane tried to help him with his hair, she touched his face with both hands, making them both feel awkward, as they were only inches apart. Yamada felt he needed to leave because he had only brought a few tools with him. Yamada made a quick stop at the convenience store to buy some beverages. As he was about to leave, the store employee approached him and initiated a conversation. She mentioned that she was an alumni of Tosei Academy and seemed eager to talk. When Yamada returned to Akane's house, he found both Akane and Runa sleeping peacefully with their mouths open. Akane was on the floor, and on the table she had prepared omelet rice for him. Yamada carefully handled her laptop and the tools he had brought, making sure not to disturb them. As he observed Akane in her deep sleep, he unclipped her hair, causing it to cascade down. Holding onto the clip, he gazed at her. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. When Yamada opened the door, he found Takuma, who started fangirling over meeting him. Takuma explained that he had come to return the food containers Akane had used to pack food for him and admitted he had been thinking about her. Yamada informed him that she was doing fine. Takuma decided to leave, asking Yamada not to tell her he had come by, so she could have peace of mind. Once Takuma left, the door opened again, and Akane looked at Yamada. He told her that the containers had appeared out of nowhere. Akane giggled, thanking him for dealing with Takuma, and walked into the house. Yamada gave her the hair clip and explained that he had just wanted to unclip her hair earlier, so he did. Yamada received a phone call from Eta, and as he was immersed in the call, Akane kept staring at him, wondering what was going on. Akane, feeling financially desperate, applied for a part-time job at a convenience store near campus. She informed her friend Momo about this over the phone, mentioning that Eta had fixed her laptop for free and that she wanted to repay him. Later, Akane logged into the game and was greeted by Eta's character, Rurahime, and Mr. Kamata's character, Takazo. She asked Eta how much it would cost to pay him for fixing her laptop, to which he explained that the parts were secondhand and provided at no charge. At school, Yamada was throwing away some trash bags when he noticed a group of girls watching him. Okamoto, one of his classmates, came over and invited him to join a school pageant. But Yamada had been saying no to this for a while. Another classmate told Yamada that his phone had been ringing. When he went back to the classroom, he found out that Tsubaki, another classmate, had put a towel under his phone to muffle the sound. Yamada returned the towel to Tsubaki, who mentioned that she had watched his game stream and thought he hadn't played well. Yamada explained that the game server was overseas, causing lag, but Tsubaki didn't buy his excuse. While checking his phone, Yamada saw a message from his guild leader, Eta, announcing that they would be attending Tosei Academy's public culture festival and telling him to get tickets. In the culture festival, Akane arrived late. She met up with Eta, Kamota, and Runa at Tosei Academy. Runa was worried about an entrance exam for Tosei. Eta and Kamota went to the haunted house while Akane and Runa stayed together. Then, Runa had to go to the restroom because she felt sick. Akane waited for her outside the restroom and got a text from Eta about meeting in the courtyard in 15 minutes. She looked around and saw Eta talking to his friends, wondering if Yamada would join them. Yamada left Tsubaki and talked to Akane near the restroom. He said he saw her earlier, but was busy with his class. Yamada asked Akane why she was alone, making her smile. Their talk caught the attention of people nearby, including Tsubaki, who watched them while Akane explained Runa's problem. Yamada was about to let Eta know about Runa being nervous, but she begged him not to do that, and she said she didn't eat anything since the previous night. So Akane told her that she will grab her some food, and Runa told Akane that she wanted to eat. Yamada and Akane were walking together in the hallway, and everybody's attention was focused on them, and they both noticed. Yamada stumbled into a teacher who started teasing him about being seen with a girl. A group of girls approached them and they were upset, thinking that Yamada had a girlfriend, to which Akane confirmed that she is not his girlfriend, which made them excited again. Akane vented to Eta and Mr. Kamuta about being annoyed with everyone thinking they're dating. Mr. Kamuta suggested her and Yamada start dating, and Yamada did not deny nor reject, making Akane blush, and then she left. Eta started apologizing about the joke, but Akane was mad, and he decided to check on her, but before he could finish the sentence, Yamada was already chasing after her. They met at the landing of the staircase where Yamada began to apologize. However, before he could finish, Akane interrupted, noting that it was the first time he had addressed her by her name. Akane confessed that she had always assumed he didn't know her name, which surprised Yamada. He apologized again for Eta's joke, but the gossiping students nearby prompted Akane to lead Yamada to an area on the top floor. There, Yamada offered a heartfelt apology, explaining that he knew Eta was joking, which was why he had played along. Akane clarified that she wasn't angry, but rather a bit embarrassed, then began to walk away. Akane asked him what he would have done if she had taken Eta's joke seriously and agreed to date him, quickly adding that she was just joking. She suggested they avoid joking about romantic matters and began to walk away again. Suddenly, Yamada told her he would have considered it an honor and admitted that he thought she was out of his league because he found himself boring. Akane paused to reflect on his words before they went to get food for Runa together. Yamada visited Akane's workplace after she had convinced him the day before. He bought a few items and Akane asked him to draw a prize for a store promotion. While they talked, Akane asked about Runa, who she hadn't seen in a while because of her studies. Akane's coworker, Shinohara, noticed Yamada and asked if they knew each other. Akane mentioned their shared interest in online gaming. After Akane finished her shift, she and Yamada left the store together. Akane sneezed as a bicycle passed by, and Yamada quickly pulled her out of the way. Akane put on a mask, and they kept talking. Yamada hoped her cold wouldn't get worse. Later, while Momo was doing her nails, Akane talked about Yamada with her. Momo encouraged Akane to act on her feelings, saying it was pointless to hide them. Runa contacted Akane urgently, asking to meet about something important related to their guild. The two of them met at the park, where Runa shared her fears about a new female member joining their guild. Runa expressed her desire to drive the new player away, but Akane reassured her that they could become friends instead. Despite Akane's efforts to change Runa's mind, Runa remained anxious about potentially losing Akane's friendship to the new member. Runa told Akane that Yamada, taking a break from the game, invited the new member to join them. He warned Runa not to make things difficult for the new member, like what happened with Akane. Runa suggested that Akane talk to Yamada directly for more information. Tsubaki thanked Yamada for introducing her to his guildmaster in the Forest of Savior game. Yamada got an anonymous phone call, and Okamoto started teasing him, but Tsubaki defended him, saying that romance is not his thing. Yamada called the number again and found it was Akane. He apologized for not responding earlier. Akane explained that Runa had given her his number. She mentioned having something to ask him earlier, but now needed to go to her part-time job since the manager couldn't reach the employee assigned to the night shift. Yamada suggested finding a replacement, but Akane explained that no one else was available, and it was most convenient for her since she lived nearby. Before ending the call, she assured him they'd talk in-game. As Yamada and Tsubaki were walking, she started asking him about Akane and what she's like, and if he likes her. While Yamada was tutoring Runa, she received a call from Akane, informing Runa that she wouldn't be able to play with her today because she was sick. In her house, feeling weak, Akane decided to go to the kitchen for a snack, but failed. She set out her bicycle to go get some food, but collapsed before she could even leave. Feeling hopeless, Akane sat on the ground, crying due to her sickness. Yamada came to her rescue and caught her before she fainted. However, Akane thought it was just her imagination. Tsubaki met Okamoto, who asked if Yamada had been answering her calls. When she said no, Tsubaki guessed he was busy tutoring. But Okamoto thought it was strange for Yamada not to reply. He thought that maybe Yamada was with a girl and told Tsubaki to act fast before someone else got him. Yamada carried Akane, who had passed out, to her bedroom. While Yamada was taking care of her, Akane mumbled in her sleep, and suddenly she woke up with a fever. Deciding it was best to take her to hospital, Yamada went with her, and they went later to her apartment. with Akane feeling better. In the middle of the night, Akane woke up to find Yamada asleep by her bedside. She was surprised to see him seated on the floor of her room and panicked, wondering if it was just her imagination. However, her severe sneeze made Yamada ask about her well-being. Still surprised by Yamada's presence, Akane got a headache from moving around earlier and decided to rest. Now, lying on her bed, she told Yamada she felt better than before, and he revealed that she had fainted outside her building. Akane felt overwhelmed with gratitude for Yamada's kindness. Yamada confessed that he didn't see himself as genuinely kind. Akane mentioned Takuma. She expressed gratitude for Takuma's honesty about his affair. Yamada recalled his childhood friend once again, who cried upon realizing that their friendship was based on pity. Akane monitored her temperature, hoping it would be better, and ate the yogurt Yamada had brought. She suddenly burst into tears. Yamada jokingly asked if it was because the yogurt was so delicious. Akane's legs struggled to move, which caused her to cry out in pain. Yamada came to her aid, massaging her leg to decrease the cramp. A silence settled between them, and their eyes met, prompting Akane to feel the intensity of Yamada's gaze, and questioned whether her growing feelings for him were because of his comforting presence. As Yamada attempted to retrieve a fallen spoon, Akane stumbled backward, accidentally hitting her head on the bed's headboard due to her clumsiness. Yamada laughed, leaving Akane feeling deeply embarrassed. Momo stopped by to bring Akane her groceries. She found out that Yamada had taken Akane to the hospital the night before. Momo asked if they were dating, but Akane said they were just friends. Momo wondered about their relationship. Momo asked Akane to keep her updated on anything new with Yamada. Akane checked her phone for Yamada's message, where he said he was doing fine. Then she got a message from Runa asking if they could hang out on the weekend. Akane logged into Forest of Savior and met Rurohime and the new member named Tsubaki. Rurohime invited them to join her on a hunt, and Akane accepted. Tsubaki said she hadn't fully mastered her attacks, but Rurohime suggested that Akane could help her because they both played as paladins. Akane shared her worries about maybe picking the wrong job, but Tsubaki told Akane that paladins were the only ones who could fight bosses alone, which excited her. Akane reassured Tsubaki that she could handle the harder parts of the game. Rurohime watched as Akane and Tsubaki struggled to beat a tough monster. Akane complained that Ruri shouldn't have joined them if she wouldn't help, but Ruri promised she'd help if they were about to lose, since the monster wasn't too hard to beat. Ruri admitted it was interesting how their attacks didn't hurt the monster much, and it healed quickly. Using their paladin powers to heal, Akane and Tsubaki decided to keep attacking the monster without giving up, even though it kept attacking them. Curious about the monster they tried to defeat, Akane called Yamada for information. Yamada admitted he didn't know much since he hadn't faced it yet. He thought monsters like that weren't too hard. Still, Akane asked for his advice. Meanwhile, Princess Ruri helped Tsubaki fix her armor under a tree. Rurohime asked how Tsubaki felt about the guild. Tsubaki said she was happy about the friendly atmosphere and apologized for not being interested in the game at first. Rurohime asked if Tsubaki wanted to talk more. Tsubaki thought of Yamada and mentioned her lack of courage. Rurohime told Tsubaki to act first, saying bravery often follows. Apologizing for keeping Yamada up late, Akane asked if he was tired. Yamada said he was and asked if she needed anything else before he signed off. Akane confessed she called because she wanted to hear his voice, then ended the call. She contacted Momo saying she needed to discuss something important. Akane apologized to Runa, who felt sad because they couldn't play together. Akane decided to meet Momo at a cafe. At the cafe, Akane started talking, but Momo was disappointed when Akane started asking about what the reasons behind her getting broken up with are. She had waited for a week for Akane's fever to go away and missed a group date to meet her, hoping for a romantic story. Akane admitted she wanted to address her insecurities about love. She found it silly she regretted not asking Takuma why he broke up with her. Suddenly, 2 men from Momo's group date came to their table. Momo felt uneasy but told Akane she would handle it. The waiter returned with their order. It turned out to be Eta, and he saved Momo and Akane from the men. After the men left, Akane thanked Eta for helping them. Akane explained to Momo that Eta was in the same guild as Yamada. Momo said playing games was more fun than going on group dates. After his shift, Eta's co-worker invited him to karaoke. Eta declined because Runa was waiting for him. As he left the cafe, Akane and Momo called out to him. They said they had been waiting for him, and Akane mentioned she had something important to tell him. The three of them sat together, and Eta asked Akane what was it that she wanted to talk about. Akane started stuttering, so Momo cut her off and said that Akane is falling in love, which Eta responded to that he is very happy for her. She explained that she wants to know if there is something she has been doing wrong. Eta told her he knows the guy she is falling for, and that he is great and kind. He advised her that she should be straightforward, because that is exactly what this guy needs. And if he happens to reject her, him and Momo will be there for her. She got up and walked away, leaving Momo and Eta to get to know each other. Akane rang the doorbell of Yamada. He opened the door and they greeted each other. When they were both talking, the neighbors were talking loudly, making it difficult for her to talk. Yamada cut her off and told her that he needs to go somewhere, but they can talk on the way to the station. He asked if they could have done that over their phone, so she excused herself and said she will come back another time. He leaned in and closed the door and locked it before she could finish her sentence. He told her that he will go and change his clothes and asked if she could wait. As they were walking to the station, she was submerged in her thoughts and thinking of whether to tell him or not. She almost crossed the street on a red light. He held her back and then held her hand to help her cross the street. He told her that he needs to get to the train and apologized that they did not get time to talk. He told her after class he will call her, if that is okay with her, to which she agreed with a smile on her face. They said goodbye to each other. It started raining, so after class, Okamoto asked if he could share the umbrella with Yamada, and he agreed, but then upon realizing that Tsubaki did not have one, Okamoto decided to give up his spot for her. Yamada and Tsubaki shared the umbrella and talked about the game. Yamada gave Tsubaki the umbrella and left. She chased after him, but she dropped her glasses, so she was unable to see, but Yamada picked them up for her and told her they were broken. He asked if she was okay, and she told him that she likes him, and then burst out crying. He covered her with the umbrella. Akane received a text message from Yamada saying they couldn't talk that day because he had a tutoring session with Runa. Eta showed up and asked if anyone had confessed to Yamada. Eta assumed it was Akane. When Eta mentioned the confession, Yamada thought Tsubaki was the one that they were talking about. He wasn't sure how to respond to the confession from someone he saw as a friend. Lost in his thoughts, Yamada went to Akane's workplace. He tried to call her on the way but couldn't get through. When he arrived, he apologized for not being able to hear what she wanted to say the previous night. He explained that he couldn't make the call. Akane noticed Yamada seemed sad and tried to cheer him up a bit. She hinted that what she wanted to say wasn't very important, and that she had already talked to her best friend, Momo. Yamada and Tsubaki met up. Tsubaki opened up to Yamada about the feelings she had kept hidden for years as they were friends and classmates. When Yamada finally responded, he admitted he couldn't share the same romantic feelings. Despite feeling rejected, Tsubaki felt grateful that Yamada let her express herself. Tsubaki noticed a drawing on Yamada's left hand. She instantly recognized it was Akane, the girl he had feelings for. Mr. Kamuta generously sponsored the Chocolate Rabbit Guild's December party. Akane arrived on time and joined the others who had come a bit earlier. Kamuta and Runa, already at the restaurant, approached her. She looked around for Yamada but couldn't find him. Eta teased her about looking for him. While they talked, Kamuta mentioned his friend owned the restaurant and had invited him. So, he decided to bring the whole guild instead of going alone. As the guild members chatted, 4 important people approached Kamuta while leaving the restaurant. They called him Mr. President, which intrigued Akane and Runa even more. While the guild enjoyed their meal, 4 staff members brought trays of delicious meats, dishes, and drinks as gifts for Kamuta. Eta praised Kamuta for being successful. Yamada arrived late to the gathering. He found an intoxicated Akane enjoying the expensive gifts gifted by Kamuta's friends. Kamuta invited Yamada to grab a bite, mentioning they planned to arrange a taxi for Akane. Eta suggested that Yamada personally insure Akane's safe transportation instead of calling a taxi. Yamada stepped away from Akane to buy some water. When he returned, he found her peacefully resting in her seat. Knowing she was heavily intoxicated, Yamada playfully placed the water bottle on her cheeks, causing her to wake up and talk loudly. Akane, who often has trouble remembering things when she's drunk, grabbed her phone to ensure she wouldn't forget Yamada's help, even though her vision was blurred. Yamada reassured her not to worry and advised her to lower her voice. On their way home, Yamada held onto Akane's wrist to steady her. During their walk, Akane's right heel got stuck in a groove. Yamada knelt down to free it and then tightly held her hand as they proceeded towards her apartment. Upon reaching Akane's apartment door, Yamada attempted to leave, but Akane caught his coat sleeve and, despite her hesitation, asked if he likes her. Yamada's gesture of holding her hand during their walk had sparked her curiosity about his feelings. Turning around, Yamada admitted she had caught him. He confessed that he liked her and had developed feelings for her. Yamada assured Akane that if she forgot his confession, he would tell her again until she remembered. Despite being intoxicated still, she asked if she could call him in the morning for reassurance, worried that the events of the night might feel like a dream. Yamada insisted he would call her as soon as he woke up. They embraced each other